All right, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about writing the college application essay. So this will be our last big assignment for the year. So I'm going to give you guys a couple weeks to work on it, but if you want to send me a draft, as you finish working on it, send it to me and then I'll give you feedback and then you'll have it ready as we finish out the year. So there are 6 prompts from the Common App. The Common App is a consortium of colleges all across the nation who have combined together, and they will accept the same application that you fill out. Now, Kennesaw Mountain, we do something called Naviance. So you'll make an account in Naviance. You'll be able to access the Common App that way. So you'll fill out the application. Teachers who write recommendations will get an email from Naviance and will post the letters into your account in Naviance, and then you will complete the application and the essays through Naviance. Once you're ready, you'll push a button, and then that same application, the same essay, the letters, the transcript, all the stuff will go to your college along with the money that you're sending for the application fees, and then your colleges will be able to look at it that way. So this component is a really important component, especially considering that a lot of you are not going to be including test scores. So all you'll have will be your grades, the extracurriculars that you did from 9th grade to halfway through 11th grade, and then your essay and your letters of recommendation. So take this essay very seriously and do a good job. Okay, so I'm going to go through the different prompts. This one is prompt 1. It's probably the most common prompt. So some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful that they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. Focus on the word story. Okay, these are the least interesting to read. So let me give you a little bit of advice on this one. Okay. Double consciousness is a good one, where you've got one foot in one culture and another in another culture. Like at home, your family is Indian and you speak Hindi, and then you come to school and you are a typical American kid. So those work. You know, maybe you have a famous relative, you're the daughter of a single parent, you're the first person in your family to go to college. I read a really good one a couple of years ago, a son of an opioid addict. He was able to pull that off really well. But not just simply, you know, you're the daughter of a Latino family. I mean, you know, in this day and age, it's really something that sets you apart. Identity are always interesting. I put some identity words down there. One that's really interesting is deaf and deaf, being part of the deaf culture. You know, being hearing impaired, but also being part of the deaf culture. Things that you're interested in, like that you code in your spare time, you are part of the bird watching community, you like gaming, you speak several languages, you cook, you volunteer. Even something that you've been doing during COVID-19, that would set you apart. Talents, there's a bunch of talents that I listed. As I said, these are probably the least interesting to read because they're the most common that students pick. All right, second one, lessons that we take from obstacles that we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did this affect you? And what did you learn from the experience? One of my favorite ones from this prompt was a boy who said he got cut from the baseball team twice. Not once, but twice. But what ended up is that when he got cut from the baseball team the first time in middle school, he started a YouTube video gaming channel. And then when he got cut the second time in high school, he did something else extraordinary. I think he volunteered or did something different. So it was a really interesting story with a plot twist twice. I really like that one. So the focus of these, and I put this down there at the bottom, is 3/4 of the essay should be about what you learned from the experience, and only 1/4 of the essay should be the actual thing. And I wrote, no one wants to read a whole story of your car accident. Okay, now here's the thing. You might need to write the whole car accident story in order for you to get to you and what you've learned. So you might end up having to write 2 essays in order to get to the second part of the essay, and that's what you're going to send. So be careful of these, because the story has to be about you and your growth and less about the event that happened. Next one, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? These are really interesting because students don't often choose them. I've read very devout Christian families and the student questioned the family's belief. I've also read the opposite. I've read very secular, very science-based families, and the student became a Christian or became a Muslim. And so those are interesting because it talks about how a student thought through a big decision. There's a lot of reflection to this one. So if you have a situation like that, those are always interesting to read. Next one, describe a problem that you've solved or a problem you'd like to solve. It can be an intellectual challenge, a research query, an ethical dilemma, anything that is of personal importance, no matter the scale. Explain its significance to you and what steps you took or could be taken to identify a solution. I love these because, again, these set you apart. They're not often chosen. If you're a magnet student, these work really well, especially if you've done some research. Because you can take on, even, again, COVID-19, you can talk about what needs to be done for the society, what can be done, and this brings in how worldly you are, how well-read you are, and your thinking process. These are great if you have a topic that fits for this one. All right, next one. Describe an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. One of my favorite ones that was written about this one is a girl whose brother was profoundly mentally disabled. And she talked about how she had to give up things like homecoming and prom in order to go home and stay with her brother. But what she learned being able to interact with him was worth it. And so the maturity that this girl showed to be able to make a decision like that, to not be a typical teen and want to do typical teen things. So think about that, accomplishment, event, or realization. These are like the big aha moments. And the model that I'm going to show you fits with prompt 5. All right, prompt 6, describe a topic, idea, or concept that you find so engaging that it makes you lose all track of time. What does it captivate you, or why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? These are interesting because you can talk about mentors. You can talk about your learning journey. You can talk about how this could potentially be your career. So prompt 6 is another one that's really good. Okay, how to narrow down the prompts. First, I would eliminate the ones you don't want to write. Okay, so there's 6 prompts here. If you're going to do the Naviance Common App one, I would say, all right, these 3 are not interesting to me, so I've got it narrowed down to 3. The essay has to be about you. It cannot be about how much you love your mother or Jesus. It has to be about you. So that's where a lot of brainstorming needs to happen, so you can decide, how are you set apart from other kids? How is that admissions counselor going to remember you? And think about your spike. So here's everybody else, but you have this unique thing about you, all right? That's the thing you need to write about. All right, and think about what the admissions counselor has sitting in front of her or sitting in front of him. They have your transcript. They have your grades. They have letters of recommendation, and especially if you've told teachers to write certain things, they have, what else do they have? They have the application itself, all right? What they don't have is this piece, 650 words, so that will take about 7 minutes to read, where that admission counselor has your full attention. So what do you want to say to that person that adds to your application and makes it a complete package? Okay, so I'm going to show you this model essay, but I'm going to show you it in part 2. So I'm going to stop the video here and then post this one, and then I'm going to do the second one by working my way through this model essay and then continuing on.